If you're a college football nut like us, and maybe even a Madden player like us as well, you might be asking the same question that we have for the last several months. What's up with NCAA Football 24? Well, today we're going to be diving into all the available information that we have on EA's College Football 24. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's first start with when we might be able to get our first glimpses of this game, and when we might be able to get our hands on this coveted piece of video gaming history. Historically, EA has always provided us with some screenshots of the upcoming title sometime in January, typically after the national title game. So we'll definitely have to keep our eyes peeled after we watch A&M beat up on Kentucky in the national title game.
Now, the release of the game has already been confirmed to be sometime in July of 2023. However, if we once again go off the history of past game releases, we see a trend in EA releasing their NCAA title consistently on the second Tuesday in July. If this pattern holds true with this new iteration of the game, we think we should have access on July 11th of 2023.
Moving more to the content side of the release, there are somewhere between 120 and 130 schools that have been confirmed to appear in the game, and are currently actively working with EA to provide the assets they need to provide an authentic game day feel. These assets include things such as uniforms, fight songs, chants, throwbacks, helmet stickers, and access to their stadiums for scanning. EA is supposedly using a new technology to scan these stadiums, which should provide a richer and more authentic game day environment. Now, EA has been confirmed to still be working on acquiring some of these assets as of this past July, according to 24/7 Sports. However, this is the most costly part of building the game in terms of dollars and time investment, so the fact they're still working on it should not come as a surprise at this point.
EA does seem committed to getting all the small details right in this game, as they're really trying to provide that rich college environment that's present on a lot of college campuses on game day. Through team-specific fight songs, chants, progressive helmet stickers, and in-depth stadium scans, it really seems like they're giving the game day experience their best effort. This also includes the broadcast booth, as ESPN will also be making their return to the game, providing on-air talent to give the voice to this game's commentary team. It is unknown at this time who specifically from ESPN is working on the game, but it's nice to know that we'll have that familiar ESPN college football feel back in the game once again.
Now that we talked about the schools, the teams, and all the great stuff surrounding the game day experience, let's get into the players. Obviously, with NIL coming along, it has allowed the game to come back, since players will finally be able to make money off their character in game, much like NFL players in Madden. However, this is a much more complicated process in college football, as they don't have a union or a collective bargaining agreement. It does seem like the players are getting dealt with on an individual basis. Additionally, EA does not have a current plan in place on how they're going to pay out this NIL money. This means that players will have the option to opt out of appearing in the game if that's something they wanted to do.
Now, this should not be a detriment to the game for a couple of reasons. First, according to some polls that have been run by current players, including one from 24/7 Sports, it does seem that players overwhelmingly want to be in the game regardless of what the payout structure looks like. Many of these guys grew up playing this game and have fond memories of it, and they just want to have the opportunity to appear in a game that they grew up loving. The second reason players opting out should not be a massive detriment is because this is something that the sports games industry and even EA has had to deal with in the past and even currently. If you're a Madden player like us, I'm sure you're familiar with the situation with Bill Belichick and his lack of appearance in the series. EA adjusts to the obligation and creates a custom coach to coach the Patriots, which seems like the most likely course of action they would take if another player in the current college football game were to opt out.
The players that do decide to appear in the game should appear on rosters at launch, as EA is expected to finalize rosters by June 2023. Any additional roster updates are expected to be made available through roster downloads throughout the year. In addition to rosters, the playbooks will also be getting a huge focus. The playbooks in College Football 24 are supposed to match that of college football, and with that, they'll be much more diverse and team-specific than their NFL counterpart, Madden.
Now, we would also like to quickly touch on the game modes and some of the features that will be coming to these modes as well. Road to Glory and Dynasty mode are making their return to the game and are looking like they're going to be much more detailed to what they were in the past. Features such as conference realignment with the potential for super conferences, but that is an unconfirmed feature at this time, as well as the transfer portal will be making an appearance in these modes, which should add an extra layer of realism to the game. Features such as conference alignment, also potentially the super conferences as well, however that is an unconfirmed feature at this time, as well as the transfer portal will all be making an appearance in these modes, and which should add an extra layer of realism to the game. It also has been recently suggested that a 12-team playoff could make an appearance in the game, so it really seems like EA is committed to making these game modes feel as much like today's college football world as possible, which is really encouraging to see. However, this focus could detract from the game's Ultimate Team mode, which is also confirmed to be coming back, but there are no other details currently about the mode at this time.
It's going to be very interesting to see what they do with the Ultimate Team. And as we get details about one of our favorite modes, we'll make sure to keep you up to date. If you want to make sure you're up to date on all the latest college football 24 news, make sure to slide down beneath and smash that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Moving away from the content to a little more of the title specific details, let's talk about who might be gracing the cover of this year's game. There have been some talks of getting former Heisman winners such as Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow to be featured, as there were a lot of great players who never got the chance to appear on the cover in the 10-year gap the game was gone. However, according to multiple sources, this seems unlikely, as at the time, EA seems to be leaning more in the direction of getting a current player on the cover, which is something they were never able to do as a result of the former NIL rules. Definitely gonna have to keep an eye out for who stays hot this season in college football, as they might be on the cover of next year's game.
Let's finish off all of our current college football 24 news with a little technical talk. The engine that the game will be running on this year is the same engine that the current Madden game is on, which is Frostbite. In our experience, this does not seem like a completely horrible thing, as this year's Madden title has actually been pretty solid from the gameplay side of things. The one thing we do hope to avoid, though, is a complete reskin of Madden NCAA form. However, with the attention and focus that EA is paying to all the little details of this game, that does not seem likely at this point. Additionally, the game is said to only be coming out on next-gen consoles, meaning that PS4 and Xbox One players will not have access to this game at launch. This should be interesting to see how this affects the player base for this game, as getting a next-gen console is still a big issue for a lot of players.
And that's going to bring us up to date on all the latest college football 24 news. If you liked the video, and we hope you did, smash that like button down beneath, and we'll catch you next time for another college football 24 update.